So, Joe, I want to ask you, since you're all about helping and teaching people like how to start their own movements, what do you feel is really your movement? What are you looking to really inspire in people? What are you looking to see? What is the change you're really looking to inspire in the world?
And Sam, I got to say, I love your questions. Every one of the questions you ask is so beautiful. And and ultimately, at a very deep level, my movement is the same movement that everyone has, which is creating unity and increasing the level of vibration of the planet, of elevating consciousness. And that will take so many different expressions.
Right.
But I believe that the highest calling that any one of us can take is creating more unity and elevating consciousness across the planet.
Right. And I just want to mention for those people listening out there who think maybe this is a little too woo-woo, this stuff is really being worked into even corporate structures these days. I've met people who are chief consciousness officers of corporations, and that you'll find now, although it may not be talked about as much, CEOs and C-suite executives are meditating during their lunch breaks, and companies are beginning to realize that sort of the next step or the next big thing, whether in business or politics or anything, is really all about human consciousness, isn't it?
And this is what I think that people are starting to wake up to. There's so much power in the concepts of the law of attraction and so forth. But I think people, there are a lot of people who tried it and then, I didn't get the results. And people are kind of waking up to, it's not just as simple as you get what you want in life. It's more a matter of you get what you are. You get what you vibrate at, but you get who you accept, right, as yourself. And so we realize that, I can do the same things as someone else, but they may get a different result because of where they are, because of who they are energetically and so forth. And people are realizing that, we have to do the inner work, that we can say, I want $1 million, but if our inner dialogue and our energy is one of lack and of poverty, we have to do that inner work first. And people are getting that. They realize that this quick buck isn't working. And that we need to create more sustainable and to up level. And I think, commerce is really serving us in a lot of ways because, the competition is increasing so much. And where we used to look at, let's differentiate ourselves from another business based on price or based on, color or branding. Now, consumers are saying, no, I want to do business with a company that is sustainable, environmentally, socially responsible, all of these things.
Right, that has the same values that we do.
I want to do business with someone who aligns with my values.
Yes.
And as people are becoming more, engaged and interested in the things of uniting us together, that more and more businesses will adopt that. And so it is. It does. I in jest, I kind of say it's woo and airy fairy, but it is also incredibly pragmatic.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's really quite interesting in that people are starting to think more even long term. It's like now you see so many, even just the concept of having what they call now a B corporation in the United States, which is a benefit corp, which is a for-profit entity that's for social good. And just even having that concept, it shows such an evolution in our consciousness that we could even think of such a thing, and that it is sort of pushing us to think truly what ultimately is really going to be better. And we are starting to think a little bit more long term, because people realize, if all we're worried about is this month or this quarter, that it's not going to be sustainable, and that ultimately you're not going to have the quote unquote success that people have traditionally looked for. I'm curious, Joe. Just want to ask you, because nowadays people see such a dichotomy in the world. We see such great things happening and such awful things happening that I find people are really like it's very easy to get sort of depressed about the future, and it is easy to be optimistic about the future depending on what you focus on. I'm curious, what do you see in the future? How do you see things unfolding? And I'm not asking for a prediction. I'm just your feeling.
Yeah, no, for me, everything on the outside parallels the inside. And I know that when I am very discouraged about things in my life, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I don't have a lot of hope that things will get better. I know that in the times that I've changed, it can be as simple as a shift in mind. And all of a sudden, all of those things that I thought were so horrible, now I'm back on track, I'm aligned. And as soon as I make that inner shift, it seems that the outer things just seem to align very, very quickly. Whereas if we just keep focusing on the outer, that it's hard. If you feel broke, it doesn't matter how much work you do to try and earn money, it doesn't really ever seem to stay. But when you make that mind shift, so when I look at the world, and I will admit, there are times that I get depressed and I think, wow, this is horrible. I can't believe that we're shooting each other again. I can't believe that we're warring over things that were meant to be beautiful, like our religions and things like that. So it can be overwhelming, but realizing that those shifts happen in my mind so quickly, I believe that, societally, it will also be very quick, because we're seeing that, we're polluting the ocean. We're destroying our forests. We're hurting the planet we live on. We're forgetting essentially that we belong to one another.
Right.
And so a lot of these behaviors, and I think that as the worse it gets, or the worse we see it getting, the more opportunity that has to be a catalyst to get us back on track, of saying, hey, we got to stop that. If you have just a very, very mild headache, you're probably going to push through it. But when it's pounding and pounding and pounding, that's when you stop and say, I've got to do something about this.
Right.
And I believe the same thing. That's why I'm optimistic about the world.
Wonderful. Great. So at the beginning of the show, you mentioned you were going to do something nice for our listeners and offer a free book on your website. Why don't you tell people about that? What's the book, and how do they get it?
Yeah, if people go to josephranceth.com/impact, they can get a copy of this entire blueprint. It's called the Purpose-Driven Manifesto, Purpose-Driven Marketing Manifesto, and they can get a full copy of that blueprint of how those great transformational leaders of old did it, and the model that we can follow, and how we can apply it into our own businesses, etc. I also do, a contest every month for those who are interested. I give away a free coaching package to one person each month. And if anyone's interested, in diving deeper into starting their own movement, of doing that inner work and unleashing their inner Gandhi, so to speak, they're free to enter that, which is at josephranceth.com/contest.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to give one of your listeners, that as a gift as well.
Wonderful. So, everybody, I just want to make sure you have the spelling right for that website. Joseph, Joseph, Ranceth, RANCETH.com. And just, when you finally get a chance to talk to them, let them know, like, hey, I found out about it from the Conscious Consultant Hour. Well, Joseph, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much. I know you're very busy and doing a lot of things. I'm glad we were finally able to get this scheduled.
Well, likewise. It's been a pleasure, Sam, and I appreciate the gift to visit with you and your listeners.
You're quite welcome. And just to let you know, we've had listeners from around the world. I think we have probably about 6 different countries listening during the show. So we do reach, I believe in big dreams. So I do believe in reaching people around the world, not just in 1 or 2 countries.
Beautiful. I love it.
All right, great. And listen, I'm going to hold you to it. You let me know next time you come to New York City, and we're going to have to get together and do something.
No, you know it, brother. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
All right, fantastic. Thanks so much, Joseph. You take care now.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, great. So I just want to, before I sign off, a couple of quick things. Some of you may have noticed on the website that, there's been some shifts and changes in our programming. As always, Talking Alternative is always growing, shifting, and changing with the times. And for those of you who tuned in early, before the Conscious Consultant Hour, you heard Being Community Radio. Aurea, who was doing 2 hours on Tuesday night, has sort of split up his shows. And now the Robin Callie show has moved from Wednesday nights to Tuesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. So now we've got Wednesdays, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. Tuesdays, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. Wednesdays, Michael Dolce's show, Secrets of the Sire, is now on 8 to 9 p.m. And now Thursdays, you got 3 shows, Being Community Radio, The Conscious Consultant Hour, and of course, coming up next is Frank About Health. And of course, on Fridays, we still always have 21st Century Entrepreneur and Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio. So I really appreciate everybody listening in, especially those people, Camille, loyal friend and listener on the Facebook live stream. We will be posting the link to the video afterwards for those who are interested. Thank you all for tuning in today, and we will talk to you next week.